So now that you've come this far, is there anybody in the industry you'd like to still work with?
You know, what's very interesting is that I started out with John Romita Sr., was my boss in 1985. Actually, he called me in 1983 and offered me a job at Marvel Comics. And I had to pass on it because back then the minimum wage is $4.50 an hour. And I lived out in Long Island, and the commutation fee on the Long Island train would have been just probably the whole amount of money that I would have made just traveling back and forth to Marvel Comics. And eventually, when I did say yes to him, it was about a year and a half later, 1984, about 28 years ago now. I did work underneath him directly for a year and a half, but I've actually never officially worked with him. I never actually, he'd be one guy I would actually love to work with on a professional level as opposed to work for. And then the other one would be Brian Boland, who did Judge Dredd, who my very early samples were all Judge Dredd samples. And I thought I would love to be him one day too.
That was the, if I remember correctly, Boland did all the covers for Animal Man.
Oh yeah. Which I was actually fortunate to do an issue of Animal Man, and he actually gave me the mock-up of the cover with a little note on the bottom said, "I'm afraid it's not the original Brian Boland," which to me is great anyhow.
At this point in your career,
yeah,
what are you most proud that you've accomplished?
Well, what I'm most proud of would be there's about maybe 4 or 5 books that I've done over the 27 years that I have to say are pinpoint parts of my career. They're usually one-shots, like the Parallax Final Night, kind of the epilogue for that series, which was when Hal Jordan takes out the Sun Eater and dies because of it. The other stuff that I'm really proud of is they did the Justice League World Without Grown-Ups, which introduced the Young Justice, which was a great opportunity to do that. And the biggest selling, I have to say, the biggest selling book that I worked on was I did an 8-page story in Spider-Man 375, the 35th anniversary of Spider-Man, and it was a Venom, a whole metallic cover with Spider-Man by Mark Bagley, and the book sold over 1 million copies, so I can't dismiss that.
Looking back, here's the tough question. What's the one piece that you look at and cringe? What would you wish you could have redone?
Yeah, the one probably the one art project that I would be uncomfortable knowing that I had done it and had been involved with my name on it. It was probably the very early stuff, the stuff that I really didn't know what it was. The thing is, you got paid for doing this, so you felt like it was amazing in itself. But there was stuff I did on Die Kamikaze, which was a Now comic in 1984 or 5. And The Swords of Texas with with Chuck Dixon wrote that. Those, had more energy than I had talent back then. So those are the ones I think I might maybe be cringeworthy of today. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure. MyComicStore.net is where I do all my shopping.
Thanks.